All right, welcome back. So we're back out here working on the 657E. We were out here a few days ago and we torqued the rod cap that we took off, and we torqued the main caps that we took off, and we started working on it. We got the spacer plate, or the whatever plate that goes above the oil pan on, and then I picked up the oil pan. We went and started cleaning it out, and we found a crack in the oil pan. So let me show you guys the repair work on that. And it's kind of hard to tell here. It's all white right inside here, but we flip it over, and it had gotten whapped really hard. There's the belly pan over there. You can see right here in the belly pan, this part's sticking up. So this is supposed to be protecting the engine, and it got hit so hard that it bent it up, and this rib across here, looks like right about here, hit that oil pan, and it crapped the oil pan. So I don't think it was leaking very bad from there, but I took it to a weld shop in close to where my shop is, and this guy over at Mike's Welding over in Temecula, real fast turnaround. The guy dropped it off in the afternoon and he had it ready the next morning. And it also had a spot here where the air line coming from the compressor, the steel braided line, was rubbing across here, and it was probably like this deep. It was almost through, so he beefed that up too. So all right, so we're just putting the cam gear in right now. We've got that lined up. We're just got to put the bolts in and torque them. You can tell we already put the front cover on when we were here last. Got the motor mount on. All we need to do now is just torque those bolts, check the backlash, put the cover on, and then we put the oil pan on and hang the pulley system here for the fan. The fan, mount that, and then the fan's laying right in here. We'll just lift that up with the crane and mount it back to the pulleys once we get that in. And then that'll be it on this one. So we'll be able to start it up. I wasn't planning on doing a video on putting this back together, but I had, in the comments, I had people asking me that they want to see it run. So as soon as we get done with this, get done with all this work here, we'll get oil in it, put the coolant back in the radiator, and we'll fire this thing up, and we'll get it in the video, and then we'll do some road testing with it too, so you guys can see this thing move. So, okay, so here's the bottom of the engine. You can see I put that spacer plate in there. It's like a half-inch thick plate. I'm not sure exactly what that does. If it just keeps if it supports the block and gives it more support, or if it's just to keep oil from splashing around. I'm not sure. Usually they're like a thin tin, but what do I know? But this is the first C18 I've worked on. I'm usually working on C15s, 3406s, in the past, all the way back to like D346s and D343s. But anyways, you can see we got the oil pump back in there. I've got the pickup tube in, we got the pressure tube in. Those are all tightened up, bolted down, and I've got the pan ready to go. I've got the gasket glued on it. I've got this section here all cleaned up. So Alex is up there putting a peanut cover on the front of the engine. As soon as he gets where he can break away from that, we'll lift it up, put this pan on. Then I just need to put the fuel pump gear and put the fuel pump in it, and put the air compressor in. And then we'll do the fan and all that stuff, and then we'll be done with this thing in about an hour or so. All right, so I've got the oil pan in place. I still have to hook the drain hose to it, but I'm going to wait till I get the fuel pump in and the air compressor in, just so I can have more room in here. So here's the adapter, the drive adapter for the fuel pump. Got that in place. I'm just going to tighten it down. All right, that's in. Now I just got to put the pump on there and put the compressor in. I think I might put the compressor in first, just because it'll be out of my way. I can come up from the bottom to stab it in there, and then I can put the fuel pump in. The fuel pump's just hanging here, right here. It's got the hoses on it still. But I've got to get these nuts off, clean this up, put a new seal on the compressor, and then I'll go ahead and slide that in place and tighten it down. I'm going to show you guys how to install the front main seal with the right tooling. This is very cool. Without the right tooling, I don't think it's possible. And it does have a hole in here in case your crank has a dowel. This crank doesn't have a dowel, so we could just line up these 3 install holes with any 3 of the holes that are already in the crank. And then we've got these little short 5/8 fine thread bolts. All right, so I got those lined up. I just have to screw them in. Just use this 3/8 ratchet. I'll screw those in, and then All right, so I've got that part of the installer bolted up. You just snug them up, just tighten up so the thing can't move. And then we're gonna go ahead and get the seal out of the box and put the rest of the installer on and then show you guys how that runs in. All right, so here's the seal for it. The 6069110. And let's look at the seal. So it's got the part number. It shows which rotation, installed dry, so you don't oil it, nothing like that. Yeah, and here's the inside of the seal. We're gonna lay this up on here. You know, just kind of push that into place, Alex. Just by hand. Just kind of tap it with your palm. All right, so we got that close. And then we get this part of the installer, and this is going to slide. Sorry about the camera footage. Okay, that's going to go over there over that stud and get that up so it's centered up on the seal all the way around. And obviously that nut goes on. Okay, I'll hold this in place and go ahead and get the wrench and go and crank that in. That's enough. That's in a good place. All right, now pull this cup off and we'll see see if we did it right. All right, so you can see the seals installed in there. We just need to pull these 3 5/8 fine thread bolts out, and then we can get the that section of the installer off. And then this will come right off. Well, sometimes it gets stuck on the crank. See if you can tap that off or something. There you go. And that's it. Without that tool, I don't know how you would do it. I'm glad I have the tool. Guess if I didn't, I'd buy it, but I guess that's why I have one, because I bought one. So now we just have to put the motor mount back in, and then once the motor mount's bolted back on, then we could put the balancer and the pulley back on, and then we can set the engine down back on the mount, and then we can get the oil pan back on and stuff, and get this thing finished up. All right, so we've got everything back together on this engine. We've got the oil in it, we've got the coolant back in it. The only thing we haven't done is put the pans up because we haven't started it yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it. Hopefully everything goes good. We don't hear any weird noises, don't have any leaks. So let's get after it. Go get him, Hot Rod, go get him. All right, so just gonna turn on our battery disconnect switch. One last glance in the engine compartment here to make sure I don't see any water dripping. The only thing that we opened up that had water was that bottom hose that we drained it from, because for some reason there's no drain plug, and the 2 water lines on the compressor. So I see those aren't leaking, so that's all good. All right, so let's get around here. Got all the dust in here. Queer. Pressure. them up for a few minutes and we'll rev it up a little bit, make sure everything's all good. And we might take it for a little test run here before we put the pan. Well, we'll pull the one pan up, but before we put the main pan on, we'll take it for a quick test run. Okay, now we scroll through. Here we go. Well, it's RPMs. Yeah, 71 psi oil pressure. Engine load 20%, 0 psi turbo. Let's go back there. Oh yeah, you can hear that turbo bark. I was just shooting video on this 651 in front of me, and it's got a power problem. And I could only get up to 6 or 8 psi on the turbo, and I couldn't even hear the turbo boosting. Because I was looking at it to find out why it's low on power, and it's got exhaust leaks, really bad exhaust leaks. But this one, you can really hear that turbo bark. Alright, so this is it. It has no leaks. There's no coolant dripping. There's no oil dripping. See everything we did here. Everything's looking good so far. So we're going to go ahead and pull up this front pan, and then we can take this thing for a little ride, and then we will have to work on the main pan, which is going to be a real pain. But alright, so let's go for a test ride. The seat adjusted. Get my seatbelt on. cushion hitch, and it made it so much better. That's it. I had a couple people comment that they wanted to see this thing run after we were done with it. You know, coming from the last video where we took it all apart, troubleshot the issues. That's it. 2,000 foot-pound of torque. What was it? 600 horsepower, and 2018 foot-pounds of torque is what this is set at. This machine weighs, I think they weigh about 100,000 pounds. I guess that's with the twin engine. But they hold 104,000 pounds of material, you know, give or take, depending on the density and the moisture and stuff like that and what they're hauling. But it's about 35 cubic yards. It's quite a bit of material. These things, these 657s, they'll move more dirt faster than anything you'll ever find out there. They are just an incredible scraper with tons and tons of material. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please hit that like button, please share the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.